prepared remarks this morning. Last evening, Representative Braley and I sent a letter to CMS Administrative Director Marilyn Tabner requesting a delay of the Medicare's competitive bidding program for durable medical equipment, prosthetics, orthotics, and supplies. We've been joined by a bipartisan majority of the House, 227 members in total, 82 Democrats, 145 Republicans, requesting that Administrator Tabner use her authority that she has to delay further implementation of the program and to take a hard look at many of the discrepancies that have been brought to our attention. Now, we are concerned that mishandling of the bidding process will impact Medicare's ability to service beneficiaries and the taxpayers. The first principle of health care is do no harm. Competitive bidding in its current form is a direct violation. As her first major action as administrator, Mrs. Tabner has a great opportunity to set a new tone with on how our agency will work with Congress. We would welcome that. We urge the administrator to do the right thing and delay the program through the end of 2013 in order to allow for adequate investigation and correction of the significant problems that have been identified. I'd like to thank Mr. Braley for his leadership in this issue, and I go to him for further comments.
Thanks, Glenn, and I want to begin by emphasizing the most important part about this effort. Its strong bipartisan nature, which is something you don't see every day around here. But all of us who signed onto this letter are here to send a simple message. A flawed competitive business bidding system needs to be evaluated before round 2 is implemented, because our constituents who are served by these home health care providers are the ones who will suffer if we get it wrong. We are here today because all of us believe in promoting a healthcare delivery system that provides efficiency. But efficiency doesn't mean simply low cost. It means the best possible quality to the broadest possible audience at the lowest possible cost. This competitive bidding system is fundamentally flawed. It encourages suicide bidding, where people who don't even have the capacity to perform the requirements under the contract are allowed to win bids, drive other people out of the market, and reduce not only access to health care, but jobs in our districts. That's why we're here with one voice to send a simple message, that we want this bidding process to be put on hold until it is thoroughly examined, fixed, and provides true competition in the marketplace.
We're also joined this morning by two strong voices that represent the durable medical equipment industry. These two folks represent the tens of thousands of small businesses throughout this country of caring and compassionate individuals that are there to stand ready to if the system's not broken, to be able to provide the equipment to be able for individuals to face a life-changing disease and disability, to live with dignity, to live with independence within the community setting. And so we're joined this morning by Tyler Wilson and John Servinski.
Thank you, Congressman. I'm Tyler Wilson, President of the American Association for Home Care, and I want to thank Congressman Thompson-Braley and Dr. Price for leading this effort. But clearly, their concern is shared by a lot of their House colleagues. I think over 220 have joined this letter to Administrator Tabner. You know, my association represents those companies that manufacture and provide home medical equipment and related services to people with disabilities and to seniors. And it really is, while it's a business issue, at some level it is also an issue that concerns a lot of Medicare beneficiaries out there, and I don't want that message to be lost. I just want to make clear, too, that the association views the competitive bidding program both as anti-competitive and as unsustainable. With that said, the industry is not opposed to a fair system of bidding that leads to market prices, a system that is transparent and that relies on binding bids and that avoids the murky process that the CMS is now using. So let me just spend a minute to go to the heart of one of the concerns spelled out for Administrator Tabner in the letter, and really one of the key reasons that a delay is needed. That is, many of the companies that were awarded Medicare contracts have not achieved or obtained the licenses that they need to have in their respective states, wherever they're going to be doing business. In Texas, which has 6 bidding areas in round 2, Our information is that more than 25 unlicensed companies were awarded competitive bidding contracts for this upcoming round, that starts on July 1st. In Tennessee, which has 4 bid areas, there are over 30 contract-winning companies that don't have a Tennessee license. The fact that CMS is not abiding by the very rules it set for itself, both is improper and it violates the regulations, if not the underlying Social Security Act. But it is also prejudicial and unfair, first, to those companies that indeed complied with the licensing requirements and submitted bids, but did not get a contract. They could very well have been displaced by these unlicensed companies. Finally, it is unfairly it's disadvantaged those companies that may not have submitted bids because, frankly, they didn't think they could get the licenses in time or meet the requirements as CMS had originally set forth. So, because those companies assumed that the rules were hard and fast. So, Home Care is hopeful that CMS will listen to the concerns expressed by more than half of the House members and delay the start of round 2 so that the problems we've discussed here today can be addressed.
My name is John Shavinsky. I'm the Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Association of Medical Suppliers. I also chair the National Council of State Associations representing the home medical equipment industry. I want to join others in thanking our friends G.T. Thompson and Congressman Bruce Braley for taking the leadership in this effort. On behalf of all of the state associations around the country, we are humbled. We are truly humbled to have gathered the support of a majority of House members in this effort. One point that I want to make with this, and what we're talking about is the public procurement process. And the public procurement process doesn't simply exist for the purposes of this program. It exists throughout the federal government, throughout state governments, throughout local governments, and the integrity of that process is paramount wherever you go. The bid rules have to be clear, and everyone must comply with those bid rules, including the letter of the bids. In this case, the party that put the bids out failed to comply with their own rules, and that has put a great many companies at a tremendous disadvantage. In the Philadelphia bidding area, for example, 60% of the contracts that were awarded went to companies that have no locations whatsoever within that very large Philadelphia bidding area, local companies were put out of the process as a result of it. And you have basically two types of companies: those who went to the time and expense of properly obtaining the necessary licenses, and then you have those who looked at the process, said it's too costly, it's too time-consuming, I'm not going to bid. These people were harmed as a result of CMS not following its own rules. And we thank Congress for taking this issue as seriously as it should be taken, and for ensuring the integrity of the public bidding process.
Well, let me just close this portion of the press conference by saying we've got 19 days. 19 days, we've asked the Administrator Cabinet to just issue what is within her authority to do administrative delay, so we can stop this rush to failure that's going to harm Medicare beneficiaries all across this country for all the reasons we've I think that we well articulated this morning. So at this point, if there's some questions, we will be glad to entertain those.
Congressman, Ted with Lilly Broadcasting. Congressman Collins, you mentioned some of the companies in your district who expressed some concern. I wonder if Congressman Thompson and some of the other members have heard the same from your constituents. If you could tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. We've, not just being involved as I have. I mean, my entry into this is an issue I picked up, not just obviously very important on behalf of the constituents of the Pennsylvania 5th Congressional District, which is 23% of the land mass in Pennsylvania. But this one I approach with a passion because, for 28 years I've worked in healthcare, rehabilitation services, and I spent my entire career working with Medicare beneficiaries, older adults who need access to cost-effective health care. And you know, this program, as I've watched it unfold, it's just has been a flawed process, and it's been a train that's been difficult to stop, and so the consequences, I think, have been well outlined here, and certainly would impact the citizens of the 5th District of Pennsylvania as the rest of the Medicare beneficiaries across the country.
Well, I have seen this very closely up front because I have a company in my district, VGM, which provides support services to all affected entities that are involved in this process throughout the country. So they process information from almost every part of the United States. But I think one of the things that's not really being mentioned is we talked about the impact in large urban areas. There's a profound impact in rural America, where the availability of providers has always been a challenge. And now, with this process, many of the people I represent in a district of 12,500 square miles are concerned about whether they're going to have access to the same quality of services they had, whether it's for oxygen, whether it's for their durable medical equipment. Service is a huge part of compliance, and compliance is absolutely critical, and chronic disease management is such a huge part of our healthcare costs. And that's why the distance involved in service providers can be a critical issue in this program.